Maybe you know that situation where you're sitting across from a woman that you like, and for some reason the conversation stays too friendly. You've watched all of the videos on how to make it more interesting, how to flirt, how to use push-pull or tease the woman. But for some reason, it doesn't seem to work whenever you do it. So you conclude that you need to get better at the technique. You need to practice it more, or maybe find a coach that teaches you how to tease the girls better. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that wanting to get better at the technique is actually the exact wrong diagnosis, and it's the exact reason why you're stuck where you are. Now, flirting in its natural sense is not a technique. It's a genuine expression of interest in the other person without needing the other person. So you show interest in them in a playful way without showing neediness in them. That's how simple we can put this. Now, when you look back at when you were a child, there was probably a time when you would tell people that you met that you liked them. It was oftentimes playful and usually not very needy. You just felt like telling them. It didn't have any meaning or any consequences for you. You just wanted to let them know. But then you grew older, and whenever you expressed any sort of interest in other people, you started hoping for some reaction. You started hoping for them to like you back or to feel appreciated. So you became dependent on that outcome. So at some point along the way, the other person's reaction became defining for whether or not what you said was good enough. And because we worry about whether the other person likes what we say, oftentimes before we even say the words, we already start self-editing or self-censoring. We're like, oh, is this good enough? Should I say this? So we start worrying about their perception, whereas the best flirters, the people that are the funniest, that are the best and most easygoing in conversation with women, they just focus on appreciating the other person, taking the other person in, and at the same time, freely expressing themselves, being themselves, and saying things that are on their mind without that filter. So what is causing this self-editing or self-censoring, whatever you want to call it? Well, when you say something, when you're with your best friends or your family, usually you just express yourself. You're saying whatever funny thing comes out of your mouth, whatever comes to mind, any joke, any silly thing, you will say or do it without worrying about it. But when you care about the other person's approval, what happens is you put them in a position to judge you. You basically start thinking about, well, I will say this, but I want a 10 out of 10 rating from her, aka I want her to laugh and I want her to like me back. So you give her all that power and thereby put her in the position of the judge. So the entire dynamic of that interaction turns into this mode of almost like an audition, where rather than just freely expressing yourself, all of a sudden you're constantly thinking about how to perform better. Well, how can I say this in a better way so she laughs more? How can I say it or do it in a way where she will like me back? So you lose the free expression and go into this mode of performing the best possible way. And mostly people can feel that. And maybe you've even felt it yourself while doing it in the past, where you're talking to a girl, maybe the date is going good, but then you're thinking of, hey, I remember this technique that I learned. I'm going to try this. Or you feel like you had a perfect line, but it escapes you. But you're trying to say something and it just doesn't land. And it just has this feeling of, hey, I tried to get some reaction from her and it just felt weird. But whenever you felt that, there was exactly this unconscious self-censoring or self-editing process at play. And we actually do it way more than just these occasional times where we catch ourselves doing it, just that many times we're not even aware of us doing it. Okay, so now that we've talked about why that self-censoring is happening, let's talk about what we can do to do it less, to express ourselves in a more authentic way. The first thing I want you to do is change your relationship to that censoring process. Next time you talk to an attractive woman, I want you to do this. You'll be talking to her and at some point you will notice that you're saying something, but your mind tells you, I hope she finds it funny. I hope it makes her laugh, right? Or maybe there's a moment of silence and you're thinking that, fuck, I need to find something to say. I need to say something funny. I need to say something. I hope it's not weird. Whenever these moments happen, I just want you to become more aware of them. Notice that they happen and notice where your mind goes to. The goal is not to suppressing these moments from happening, but just to noticing that at that moment, your mind is trying to get the approval from the other person. Just become more aware of these moments. And then yes, over time, we're going to hopefully be able to reduce these moments and just do it less. Do less of the things that we do to get the other person's approval. And here's the second thing that we're going to do to get there. In the next such interaction you have, I want you to say one thing that you would otherwise not say. Might be sharing some opinion you have, saying something you find funny in the moment, or just making an observation about her that you would otherwise not make. I want you to just do that without caring about whether she likes it, being okay with maybe her being slightly offended or her not liking it or her not laughing, just something that usually you would not say. Now again, how do you know that usually you wouldn't say it? Well, you're probably going to have some thought during that interaction and your mind will tell you, oh no, let's not say this, or I can't say this, or she's probably not gonna like this. I want you to say that just once during that date. And remember, if it goes wrong, you can always take a step back. You can always say, hey, I'm sorry, I was just kidding, or something like that. But just training yourself bit by bit to get better to say these things that you otherwise would edit or censor yourself from saying. So what's the goal of all of this? If we go back to what we talked about in the beginning, when we were kids, we were really good at freely expressing ourselves, freely expressing our desires, freely expressing our interests without any sort of neediness. And the ultimate goal of becoming great at flirting is talking to girls we like the same way we would talk with our best friends. Just freely expressing everything, being okay with something that we say not landing perfectly, something not being super funny, but we still say it. We just say it because it's on our mind. And once you get to a point where you can do that with girls, it will just completely transform your life. I don't even know how else to point this, because all of a sudden you will be free. You will feel like, oh, communication happens easily. Oh, all of a sudden I don't have to worry about what I say. All of a sudden I say things that are funny and she laughs just because of who I am. At the same time, maybe she doesn't laugh about something else I said, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. And because it doesn't bother me, it also doesn't bother her. That is where true social freedom comes into play. And it all starts with you saying one unfiltered thing on the next date. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Any questions, hit me in the comment section below. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in one of my next videos.